Today I'm taking a look at the Housolution digital Vernier caliper, and this is the 6-inch caliper. So it does come with a case. It's even labeled 0 to 150 millimeters, so 6 inches. And we've got a bunch of stuff in here. So we got our instructions. It actually comes with 3 batteries. We got a metal ruler, we got a feeler gauge, we got a screwdriver, and then we have the caliper itself. So the caliper does have a lock on it, so that can slide back and forth, or we can lock that in place so it does not move. Looks like we will need to install batteries in it, and that is going to use this Phillips to take out these screws for the cover. And those are fairly tiny screws, so you want to make sure that you do not lose them. And the batteries it comes with are AG13 LR44s, and these are 1.5 volt. So if you need to buy more in the future, those are just going to be LR44s. And that drops right in, and we can see it actually turns on as soon as we put that in. So we'll make sure we have the button facing down. And it appears if we want to, we could just use the cover as is. We don't really need these screws, but I'm going to drop them back in just for that extra security. So when we turn it on, currently it is at 5 millimeters. So let's zero that out and see if that is repeatable. And it certainly is. That is always going back to 0. And that's important because not all calipers do. So we can see right now we're in millimeters, and we got this button at the top, millimeters an inch. If we hit that, now we are in thousandths of an inch. Oh wow. And that actually goes up to 1/2 thousandth. That is excellent. We can also see we got a scale right here on the side, so if we need to move this to a quick measurement, we'll say 70. We can just kind of fine tune from there. Now, since we have the feeler gauge, that is a surprisingly nice feeler gauge too. It's got a lot of gauges on it. Even have a brass gauge. Let's measure out our .035. And there we go. We've got exactly .035. So we know this is very accurate. You can also measure internally, so we can use these probes for that. And you can also see those are fairly well sharpened down. That can be useful for making scribing marks, and it can also be useful for measuring the inside of rounded objects, because if it was thick, then you would never get a perfect measurement. And we also have a depth gauge on the bottom. So if we wanted to measure the depth of something, we'd be able to know that that case is 0.5905 inches. So a little over 1/2 inch thick. Calipers are one of my most used tools. There's just so many good uses for them. So for example, if I had a long pipe and I didn't have a cross section like this where I could easily measure across, the only way to really do that with a tape measure is just kind of eyeball it and hope. But with something like this, we can click right on there. We can tell that is 1 1/8. Likewise, we can measure the internal, and we know that that is 1 inch. Another really cool thing you can do with calipers is we can find out, for example, what the sizes of these bolts are. So I'm pretty sure this one is metric. We can measure the major diameter. It's about 8 millimeters. And the minor diameter is about 7 millimeters. So that is an M8 bolt. So I want to measure this pocket right here. I would have a very difficult time seeing it, so we can use this to kind of do a blind test. So all I'm going to do is open that up until it stops. And we know we're right around 48 millimeters. So if you find that you want to do a lot of precision measurements, a nice digital caliper like that can really come in handy. So overall, I'm happy with that.